we should be doing our own version of X-Men, writing new stories, and not adapting those written by old white men, by which I could only assume they were referencing.
Don't do the X-Men then. If you don't want to do stuff written by old white men, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, don't even do it.
Now, my response to this was to try to calmly outline that fans didn't want to see our version of the X-Men. They, like me, want to see the characters that they have loved for decades.
Based. This is why this guy's a G. This is the only one thing I wanted to hear. What's going on YouTube, Double O here. And we are checking out Beau DeMayo, Marvel Disney statement. And basically, dude is done with Marvel. If you don't know the backstory, this guy's the writer for X-Men 97 on Disney Plus. Probably one of the very few things Disney Marvel has done right recently, and it was excellent, very, very good. And guess why? What I always talk about on my channel is because he's a fan. He grew up on this stuff, he loved this stuff, and you can tell by the way he talks about it, you can tell by what he made, how good he was at it. And I did my research on it at the time, and I've already said this on my channel before, I've already made a video about this before, about how Beau was kind of Henry Cavilled in a way, and because he was so much of a fan, they had to kick him out. I think he did the first season. I don't know if he did the first two seasons. I think he did the first 2 seasons, though I wonder if they're going to change the second season. The third is probably cooked at this point. But yeah, so we're going to check out his video talking about Marvel Disney, and I already sang his praises months ago when I watched the show, and I looked into what happened to him and why he got fired. The real reason, a lot of people on YouTube were actually calling him woke, and because he's gay and he did some gay OnlyFans shit, and that there might be some truth to that, but I wonder if they were just trying to find something, because you know, when these people, when these companies, these corporations want to get you, they just have to find one thing they can mess you up on. And I'm not gonna go through the whole video, just gonna go through the bits that stand out to me, the parts where I disagree with him on. So there are parts that I disagree with him on, and the parts that I do agree with him. And it's just, the main thing of this just really proves to me how Hollywood, Disney, and all the stuff that holds the properties that are dear to us now don't have the best intentions with those properties at heart. Obviously, everything is to make money, but they're not even trying to do that, because this is how you make money, getting the fans to make this shit. But yeah, anyway, let's get into this and see what he's got to say.
First, I want to welcome you to my new OnlyFans page. It's going to be a little bit unorthodox what I'm doing here, admittedly.
I don't know what he's got on his OnlyFans. I don't really want to go look at what the hell he's got on his OnlyFans. But yeah, that probably wasn't a good look. And the sad thing is, if it wasn't for the fact that we mostly agree with him, I mean, I've listened to YouTubers just today, John De La Rose, I'll mention him. I've listened to YouTubers just today talk about this guy in a mostly positive light. And John De La Rose isn't a kind of, that guy will literally find anything to get you on if you're even a little bit woke. So the fact that he sang his praises is crazy. But yeah, like, if he didn't do a good job of X-Men 97, if his opinions were even slightly a bit too much to the left than he is already, whew, he would have got roasted hard because of the OnlyFans page. People would have targeted him for the OnlyFans thing. But yeah, so we're trying to, you kind of turn a blind eye to stuff like that when they're fighting for a cause that's, you know, aligned with yours, you know, which is kind of sad, but you know, like, but I'll still say the OnlyFans probably isn't a good idea when you're working for Disney Marvel, you know, if you're honest. Also, I recommend to watch the entire video yourself, because I'm just going to cut where it's relevant to what I want to say and what I want to talk about. But yeah, watch the entire video for yourself, get your own opinion on it, of course, and yeah, I'll link it in the description.
To sit with my legal team and figure out how best to respond. These allegations of egregious misconduct are false. The rumors being spread around me online are lies, and they are offensive. But more concerning is that they're a smear campaign designed to discredit my credibility in order to cover up egregious, prejudicial misconduct, stretching from select crew members on X-Men 97 all the way to the top of Marvel Studios. And they're not just trying to discredit me using incredibly misleading press releases, but also through coordinated leaks and bot attacks, as well as anonymous scoops being given to tabloid sites and podcasters. You've maybe heard some of these. I've heard rumbling and whispers about Beau. Now, my lawyer told Deadline that this is Disney and Marvel's standard playbook. They have done this to other artists like me. With me, it's look at his Instagram. Doesn't he look thirsty? Isn't he a narcissistic egomaniac? Isn't it too vulgar, too sexual?
I believe Disney, Marvel, Hollywood does this kind of stuff where they look for ways to just mess you up if you're not toeing the line with them, you know? Whether it's your social media or whatnot, it's kind of scary when you think about it. If you don't get in line with this shit, we're going to F you up. What's crazy about it is they all go on like how they're so progressive and how they're so woke and how everything they're doing is the right side of history and it's the most altruistic, virtuous things you can do within media and entertainment, and it's their job to show good representation and all that crap. But in reality, they're all sneaky, all for themselves, and like if you watch the TV show Entourage, it's no different. If they were still making Entourage today, the storylines would be how can we appear woke and how can we appear that we're so progressive and all this kind of stuff while still being as degenerate and disgusting and as rude and exclusionary and offensive to certain groups as possible, because at the end of the day we're just doing this to look good, not that we are actually good, which is Hollywood in a nutshell. Well, there are people there that just want to be creative, but they have to wade through all this bullshit. That's what it looks like to me. If there's any accuracy to how Entourage depicted that, which I believe from what I've heard from people within Hollywood, it's pretty bad. Obviously Entourage is slightly exaggerated, but man, the things you hear and see, the Diddy parties, all that stuff, all the stuff that's been coming out recently, it seems like Entourage was light compared to what's actually going on in Hollywood.
Sure. This isn't someone celebrating their hard work or their journey in overcoming years of internalized racism and homophobia to finally become comfortable in their own skin.
He's using all the buzzwords here, see, internalized racism, homophobia, all that kind of stuff. Kind of like what John De La Rose was saying when I watched his video about it just recently. He's uploaded it. He's kind of a part of this whole situation. He's using the same words and stuff. And I could be completely wrong, but I get this weird vibe that I don't know if he actually believes this stuff. And he just uses these words in order to communicate with these kinds of people, because these are the words they fear. Sometimes you have to, especially in the business world, you have to use certain words and certain wordage and certain phrases in order to instill fear or like to get your point across to people in a way where they'll actually do something or fix up about whatever situation you're in. And I wonder if he's using these words because of that. And I wonder if he actually even speaks like that in real life.
No, this is something shameful. This is smoke for a larger fire of predatory behavior. Growing up gay and black in the South, I had to learn to accept.
Growing up gay and black in the South will probably be quite crazy, I bet, to be fair. But I wonder if that's, I don't know if I want to say that. I wonder if that's part of why he was so based enough to make the X-Men the way he did.
And to spend decades fighting for a seat at a table where people like me usually don't get to sit. I think I can count the number of black gay showrunners or just black showrunners in Hollywood on one or two hands.
That's an interesting point. The whole not having enough black, I don't know, the gay part, but the black, when I say the gay part, I mean like, is that I don't know how important that necessarily is. Maybe not, I don't know. But the blacks one, because is interesting to me because I don't know, this whole idea of you have to be black to be able to write black stories or to have a new perspective on different stories or whatnot, which is true, I think, to a certain extent, because maybe you do need more black people behind the scenes, because if you want to have new original characters of color, namely black, like you probably need someone with that experience to write it, because all the other stories are very white orientated because they're written by white people. And if you look at even before this DEI, forced diversity, these quotas, these ESG score kind of stuff, even back in the days when, when all the stuff we love now was first getting created, like Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, all the classic tales and the classic stories all featured 99% majority white people as the lead and the main characters and stuff like that, because they were written by white European writers. That's what they knew. They're writing what they knew. It's gonna be rare for like a white writer to feel the need to write about a black story, and that's for different reasons. Like today is back then it was because they didn't care to, and they just wrote about what was around them, which was white people. And some of them might have even been like, fuck, why would I write about a black person? I don't give a fuck about black people. There might have been racist reasons for that, but now it's because, I'm not allowed to write about a black person. I don't have the experience. I'm not going to do cultural appropriation and all this kind of shit. So yeah, it's more things change, more things stay the same, just for different reasons, No matter what, I feel like we do still need more black people behind the scenes. But here's the thing though, and I know they're trying to do that with their ESG and their DEI. You're probably thinking, well, isn't that what this whole thing is about? Isn't that the problem in the first place? No. What I mean is, don't force it, but try. And if you can't, you can't. But be more open-minded to it, and get people like Beau DeMayo, for example, who happens to be black, but also, more importantly, is a huge fan, grew up on this stuff, loves this stuff, and is passionate about the stuff. The black thing is just like a bonus, But so you can still keep it, you don't have to be completely colorblind, you can still keep that stuff in mind, but still, number one priority, and this is the problem, they never make it number one priority. Number one priority is the passion, it's the skills, and it's if they have the talent for it and the history, the knowledge,
The price of me being silent is other artists walking into that studio thinking that they are safe and protected, and later finding out that they're working for individuals who would profit off of shows and movies like Black Panther and X-Men, all the while themselves being the very villains those heroes face and fight every day just to have the right to be their authentic selves.
That part you just said there, that last bit is interesting to me. What is he trying to imply there? He's basically saying that all the heads at Disney Marvel are the villains that people like Black Panther and X-Men and marginalized people are fighting in their stories, which would imply that maybe they're racist or they're some kind of prejudice or something like that. That's what it sounds like he's trying to say, which is strange to me considering the whole woke intentions and the DEI and ESG and all that. So if there's any truth to what he's saying, it kind of implies to me or signals to me that those people genuinely don't have any of that, all the woke progressive stuff in their hearts in the first place, and they are literally doing it because it's some kind of ESG requirement or some kind of thing they somehow foolishly thought would make them money or something. And but worse than that is they do all that, and on top of that they're actually hateful to you, they're actually racist, they actually don't like gay black men or whatnot, or gay black people or whatnot, because they'll quickly fall to hating on you for your identity if you don't toe the line, even though they hired you for your identity in the first place. It's a weird double-edged sword there, isn't it? So I don't know. If there's any truth to that, that's crazy.
I was told that they valued my perspective and experiences as a queer black man.
See, you hear that? Crazy. Oh, because you're queer and you're black, we need this, like hire the talent first. The queer and black can be a nice bonus, but hire the talent first. I don't care what you are, as long as you can prove that you can do this shit,
And I made it very clear to them that I was not going to be the black stamp of approval on the project.
There you go. I like
so
that.
It was agreed that due to the themes of the X-Men, as well as my experience and the just general excitement around my pitch, that I would supervise all areas and stages of production. Now, with this, I assumed the studio would protect me from those who maybe harbor biases against having someone who looks, speaks, dresses, and thinks like me as their creative leader and boss.
That's just so weird. Looks, thinks, acts like him. He's black, he's gay. Isn't that what they all want? I don't understand. So it almost feels like he's trying to say that there's these racist people or homophobic people there that don't want him to be the boss and they're hating on him for it, which I guess could be possible. But in Disney Marvel, I don't know, man. That's what I'm trying to say. There's a weird, strange dichotomy going on of the whole company is trying to have this woke movement, but then there's people that can't stand having a black gay boss, if that's what he's implying. Or maybe he's talking about the fact that he's, you know, muscular or like intimidating. So I don't know. I don't know what progressive kinds of people that they've got there that would look at this guy and think, no, I don't want him to be my boss because of his identity. That just seems crazy to me. I wonder what he's trying to get at there.
Now, why was this important to me? Guys, just turn on the news. It's common for minorities in leadership roles to not be taken seriously, to have their credentials and their resumes continually questioned.
Disney Marvel, though. I don't know. Someone explain this shit to me. I don't know. Like, if this was like, if he was working at Breitbart or something, I don't know. Like, look at Candace Owens at flipping Daily Wire or whatever. Like, they respected the shit out of her. Like, they were terrified when she was coming up against him and talking out against him. That's the kind of place where I feel like they'll treat you the way he's talking about. That's crazy, if that's true what he's saying, because I don't know if he's projecting or just taking that wrong. Why they didn't like him? They probably didn't like him because he was actually a fan, and he was trying to do the story first before any agenda. And then they started probably giving him shit. But I don't know if he's just playing on the whole identity thing. Maybe.
By those above and below them, and just generally be written off as a diversity hire who didn't earn the job. I thought Marvel would have my back against this stuff. Instead, the studio looked the other way as my identity was weaponized by Marvel execs and select crew members to undermine me, create a humiliating environment where people felt emboldened to use the same dog-whistling stereotypes favored by bigots for decades. He's big, he's intimidating, too opinionated, angry, emotional, flamboyant, dramatic, a pervert.
Okay, that makes a bit more sense now. It sounds like they were just trying to find things. It literally sounds to me like he wanted to do X-Men the way he wanted to do it. They didn't like his ideas, so then they tried to find problems with him. That's interesting. He is using his identity, but not in the traditional sense of he's black and he's gay and I have no black gay person talk down to me. No, it was because it's all the aspects that progressives don't like. The fact that he's big, muscular, or passionate about this stuff, or fan. They don't like fans. They call them toxic fans. They don't like guys that go to the gym and work out and all that.
When I called these things out, they pivoted to attacking my talent, accusing me of being too much of a fanboy. They openly resented me fighting for the fans, fighting for the comics. They accused me of playing karaoke with those comics.
That's crazy. You know what that means? They accuse him of playing karaoke with the comics. They're basically saying, you're just trying to make the comics. Well, duh. That's what the fans want. You to bring the comics to life. Basically, why aren't you putting your own spin on this? Why haven't you got a big enough ego to want to make this your own? Because that's all that is trash when they keep doing that in Hollywood. And it's not just this woke time. They've been doing it since they've been adapting fan material, you know, like back in the days with the Resident Evil movies, where they were just desperate to just make it their own for some reason, with Mila Jovovich, who's not even in the games, her character. It's like all this stuff they keep and even today they did it with a Netflix version of Resident Evil with the Black Wesker and his daughters, and some 2025 version of the future. I don't know what's going. Rest in peace that dude, by the way. Crazy. Play karaoke. That's what you need to be doing. You need to be playing karaoke with the source material.
We should be doing our own version of X-Men, writing new stories and not adapting those written by old white men, by which I could only assume they were referencing.
Don't do the fucking X-Men then. If you don't want to do stuff written by old white men, Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, Steve Ditko, don't even do it. Don't even do it then. Don't make X-Men. Put it on the shelf somewhere and make something original. If you don't want to write a story from a old white man, then don't even take the property in the first place. Otherwise, you can't have your cake and eat it too. You can't take something that an old white man created and then change it up and then wonder why fans are pissed later on. It's just so stupid, man. Write something original, man. Fucking hell.
Individuals like Stan Lee and Chris Claremont. Now, my response to this was to try to calmly outline that fans didn't want to see our version of the X-Men. They, like me, want to see the characters that they have loved for decades.
Based. This is why this guy's a G. This is the only one thing I wanted to hear. I can't, and they fired this guy. This just goes to show you what kind of fucking mentality they have there. Man, I don't know. Maybe he's lying. Maybe he's just saying what we want to hear because he had the gay only fans and he had some questionable stuff on there. I'm trying to be devil's advocate right now, but the proof is in the pudding. Like, you watched the show, you saw how good it was, you saw how true it was, and that's probably mostly thanks to this guy because it all correlates to what he's saying. I don't know if there's a secret guy that's actually doing all the work and he's just using that to his advantage. That means he's super flipping clever and so probably a sociopath, but I highly doubt any of that because it all kind of fits, it all lines up, the puzzle pieces are fitting together. So yeah, man, Disney Marvel's cooked if they fire in the one black guy, gay black guy, that actually can make something good and is still annoying you because he's a fan. The toxic fan trumped the gay blackness of him that you could tout and show off. Crazy.
Faithfully adapted on screen. Now, in return, these individuals would then attempt to sabotage me on my job, painting me as abusive when I declined to make wholesale changes to characters, when I declined to have Jubilee fire plasmoids for her mouth, or make gang signs, or paint the sky with plasmoids in the shape of middle fingers.
Bro, these people are crazy. He was like, what are you lot on about? That's not Jubilee. And then they go back and I bet that's when they start saying he's doing karaoke with the Wow. That is such an insight into all this shit, man. This is important video. I don't know why no one's talking about this, really. I haven't really seen many people talking about this, but this is important as hell. It really goes to show how the inner workings... Man, this guy's brave coming out of all this shit, to be honest with you. He's really giving it all away, what they're doing in Hollywood, man. Because you always hear people like Critical Drinker and Nerdroic talk about how they've got these Hollywood insiders that are telling them stuff, but they want to keep their names quiet. I mean, they could be lying, but it's probably true. They want to keep their names quiet because they still have work in Hollywood and they don't want to get in trouble. So they just pass all the information on to Critical Drinker on the low and Nerdroic, and they tell you that this is how it works internally. And it's just crazy. I mean, we have proof of it. Nerdroic had that whole video edit where you see them talking about how they told us not to read the comic books. They told us not to read the comics. They made sure we don't read the comics.
I have to be honest, I was not very steeped in the comics.
I didn't read any comics or do any research.
I wasn't familiar with the comics. I wasn't familiar with the movies.
We didn't lean into a whole lot of the history of the comic books.
Yeah, candidly, we were not enormous comic fans.
I wasn't super into superhero comics when I was a kid. I read a lot of like indie press stuff.
First thing I was told is don't read the comics.
Really?
As a creator, they put you in a bubble. They don't let you talk about any of the other projects, right?
You know, they're up for anything.
We ultimately decided to redefine it for the series and thought that it worked better for the story that we're trying to tell.
Did you ever read you never read the comic?
When the DVD comes out, I'm going to read a Thor comic book and just see where we went wrong.
One of these days.
You're a
what are you not doing over there, man? It's so weird. I just don't understand. I just don't understand the logic at all. I think the ego and just the disconnect from what fans actually want. They just live in their bubble. The bubble that they're living is just unpoppable, man.
As a creator, they put you in a bubble. They don't let you talk about any of the other projects, right?
And yeah, it's actually impressive how ignorant they can be to what fans want. And it's not even that hard because he's done it. I would have done the same shit.
What was worse and what really just hurt is as I fought for when I felt that fans and audiences want, I was then being painted as being uncollaborative, too difficult, too much of a fanboy, and one executive's favorite phrase to fire at me. Beau, you need to learn to turn your comic book collector brain off. They chose to treat me as a child that needed to be scolded. Needless to say, look around me. I take X-Men very seriously. Specifically, I take this specific show's legacy very seriously. It saved my life as a kid, and I know it did others. So when individuals refer to it as just a cartoon, that bumped me.
Why are they working there if they're saying that?
It is wrong for a crew producer who repeatedly white-splains to his boss to respond to his boss's concerns on January 9th of this year.
See, he said the word white-splains. See, like, man, I don't really like John De La Rose that much because he just seems too extreme for me. But this is the problem, man. He's kind of right when he says, if you go watch his video on this guy and what he said on Twitter or something, I'm not going to talk about that, but he's already done it on John De La Rose's video. He said that he's part of the problem, even though he agrees with what he's done recently and his stand against Disney at the moment. But he's part of the problem because he let his ideology and the way he thinks of white explain, all that kind of, all those buzzwords, dog whistle, all those kind of leftists, pseudo-academic talking points are part of what created the culture we're in now, where being a fan, loving the product, loving the source material is a problem, because they end up hiring people who are more inclined to use those buzzwords and to act on those buzzwords and to use their gender or their race or their sexuality to try and progress their careers. They don't care about the source material. They don't care about the comics. They don't care about the franchise or the IP. They just care about furthering their career in it. And don't even, because at least back in the days when people didn't really care, they just wanted to make money. They still wanted to make money. These people don't even care about making money because they don't see the long-term reasons why they should make this work. They just care about progressing their careers, using their genders and stuff, like using their race, using all that kind of shit. And he kind of does it as well. The problem with him is he talks that talk with all the white explain, all that crap, but he's also got the fan in him, the passion in him, and that was more powerful in him than the whole identity politics part of him. It's almost like they're fighting with each other in him. That's what I'm seeing here.
White explains to his boss.
White explain.
To respond to his boss's concerns on January 9th of this year with, this has jack shit to do with me being white. It is wrong for an artist on the show to repeatedly denounce all men as jerks and to accuse me of failing the cause because I'm keeping a jerk like Cyclops as leader of the team.
So it's so like back and forth. 1 minute he's saying they're treating him badly because of his identity, I'm guessing his race and his sexuality, and then he actually says some words that a female said to him, that all men are jerks, or why are you making Cyclops the leader of the team? They got some mental crazy people in there, literal man-hating feminists in there, working at Disney making these stories and fighting him to not make Cyclops the leader. The one thing that all fans rejoiced on, that Cyclops was actually being treated right. It's mental.
It is wrong to question my intelligence because my muscles don't make me look like a writer. It is wrong for Marvel leadership to pat themselves on the back while giving me notes on a Blade script. A table of white men laughing as they tell me, hey, look at us. We hired a young Wesley Snipes to write the new Blade movie. And one of the reasons I wanted to do this video is so that you can see that Wesley Snipes and I look nothing alike.
You see, I kind of believe him about the whole table of white men thing, because, and the Wesley Snipes comment, because what it sounds like to me is these executives, these old white executives, they don't give a fuck about, I said it from time, they don't give a fuck about diversity, they don't give a fuck about ESG. So you people of color that are watching this video, that are just like, just want to suck on Disney Marvel's teat, this is what is actually going on over there. Now I'm trying to understand what he's saying, where it's like they know they need to kind of be progressive, or they want to be progressive because that's what the popular trend is at the moment. But they're still probably racist dickheads, you know. I mean, in a long term, thinking about it deeply kind of sense, maybe, I don't know, maybe this is better because if it's going to be these kinds of people in power, then them at least trying to pander to us rather than destroy us might be the only way to survive. I don't know. That's a deep thought there, but in terms of the quality of the medium, which is what I care about the most. I mean, there's always going to be arseholes and dickheads, but in terms of the quality of the medium, then that's going to suffer regardless. So it's like, it's weird. It's a proper double-edged sword there. So I don't know, because that's what it is. These executives, if these room of white executives, they just pretend. They just, young Wesley Snipes, it's literally like Get Out with, I voted for Obama twice, you know. It's literally, that's what it is. That's what's happening here. And you lot are defending Disney like they're so woke. Nah, man. They just know how to pretend to be woke so they can satiate any concerns you might have of what they're doing. Because if they really were woke, the Falcon would have been an A-tier, A-list character by now. You know, maybe even S-tier. War Machine would have been a legend by now. But no, what they've done is they'll just drop, you know, Falcon's mantle and have him be Captain America instead, and bolster a white man's mantle, even though Falcon has been the Falcon since 1969, one of the first black American superheroes. But now his identity don't matter. He's black. The white one is the real one that matters. Let's give him his identity. And, you know, that's what, but we're progressive. And then you lot all defend that shit. People like Birdman and that defend that shit.
And I suggested this past February that we reach out to RuPaul's Drag Race to find a way to promote X-Men with a beloved queer franchise on that show, to be told by Marvel that they wouldn't want to alienate certain audiences. It is wrong for their publicity department.
Just that one little bit there about the RuPaul's Drag Race bit. See, this is what I mean. Like, you can't in one breath say, this is stupid, but then think the RuPaul Drag Race thing is going to work. But I mean, Marvel does stupid shit like that anyway. So it's just so contradictory sometimes. I don't know where the truth and the lie is going to be, you know? Like, how can Marvel in one breath be like, we don't want to alienate our audiences by putting it on some queer show, but then at the same time they're cool with the whole race swaps, gender swaps.
To list homosexuality as a hot button issue to avoid alongside school shootings, the Gaza conflict, and abortion.
But then they had the kissing in Lightyear, the gay kiss and all that kind of stuff. But you know what, to be honest with you, it actually kind of makes sense now I think about it. Because even though they did have the gay stuff and certain woke, quote unquote woke stuff, some Disney films recently and Marvel productions, it's very kind of just thrown in there and almost like, oh, just throw them a bone sort of thing. It's because they want to appear woke, not that they actually are woke, which is even more frustrating because they just do it the complete wrong way. I'm not even mad at you trying to just try to be more woke but not really feeling it, but you know you have to be because it's a business and you have to appeal to certain demographics because you're a business, but you don't even want to. I understand that. That's how businesses work, but at the same time they do it the most worst way possible, hiring people that don't have passion for it, trying to tell them not to do anything with the source material, and I don't know how to make the decisions.
For Marvel execs to foster inappropriate professional relationships with the artist I mentioned prior, so as to push others out of the creative process who are not like them based on their identities. It is wrong for these two same individuals to write off an interracial relationship between Bishop and another white character as creepy and something that belongs on Skinamax. Of course, these two individuals did not have any issues with far racier moments in season 1 involving white characters.
I just don't get it. Like, there's like a section that's like, doesn't want any normal woke stuff, like interracial relationship. What? Disney, Marvel, people are fighting against that. And then there's the other section that is like the typical woke people, and that it's so confusing.
The last straw for me was when I got to Atlanta to work on Blade, and I saw others being treated like me, being told that someone needed to crack the whip around here.
That's mad.
Crack the whip. Honestly, it is so tempting to just drop all the names and receipts that I have online.
Do it.
It has been now.
Look at this comment.
Well, I leave.
After watching the recent Captain America, everything you said tracks. It's crazy. Play ball, else Baldonian, Blake Lively, and all that stuff. As a fellow Southerner and weird kid, I grew up loving X-Men. I got your back. People are very much supporting him in the comments because they want good shit. I can tell this guy is quite talented because I've seen his other. There was an article about what his idea was for Blade, where he wanted to do like a raid style movie where like Blade's going through a building and he's got to fight a bunch of vampires and all this kind of just action-packed epic, and none of this crap about like Blade's daughter and taking the focus away from Blade. He thought that was trash. This guy knows what to do, man. Like, and it's just a shame that even if you're black and gay, it's still not enough for these people. If you're passionate about this product, it makes you think, wow, so maybe it's not so much about, oh, we hate white people, oh, we want to pander to people, you know, blacks and gays because of our white guilt. But there's actually, I think that's probably more the employees they hire that act like that. But it's actually more, we detest this stuff and we detest you and you fans, and we want to, you know, stoke the flames of your ire, it seems, for some reason. I don't know where the motivation went from wanting to make money to that, but it's crazy. But I think there are certain powers that be, like the Bob Igers, the people that have to deal with the deficit from their profits, and have to see that at the end of the year and seeing that things is lacking. Those the top people are like the people that he probably didn't even really speak to. They're the ones looking at that at the end of the year thinking, nah, something's wrong somewhere. Someone needs to get ousted and fired quickly. And I have a feeling, the sad thing is, the crazy thing is, I have a feeling there's a certain demographic of people that probably feel a bit hard done by over the years, a certain Kathleen Kennedy kinds of people, if that makes any sense, where they just, I don't know, they're just not right for whatever the IP is they're working on. They just don't have the passion for it. It's not for them to be making. They try to say that if you don't like this stuff, then it's not for you. No, it's not for you that's making it. But anyway, that's my video. I'm going to leave it there. You guys check out the rest of his video, and there's not much left of it, to be honest. But the parts that I've missed, I think I strongly advise to just check it out and watch the whole thing, get the whole gist of it. But I just want to give you my takes on certain things he said and how it really reflects on the things that I posted about on my Captain America post. And the logic of these people isn't what you think, and how they want to go, the powers that be in Disney, Marvel and Hollywood, how they want to go about this stuff. It's not really the way you think it is. They're not trying to be progressive. They're not trying to, you know, to have more representation for blacks and all this kind of, it's just all about rubbing their own ego, patting their own backs. And I don't understand how certain people online can't see this because they share the same ideology somehow. But yes, there are people on the other side as well that are taking advantage of this situation just to hate on anything that might even slightly appear not white, straight and male. You know, there's also that side as well, which is not helping the people that actually genuinely do care about this stuff. People, I believe that I'm one of those people. It's not helping our fight against this stuff, you know, because people refer to those idiots. Anyway, just hope things get better. I might go check out the Captain America movie and give you my review and my thoughts on the whole Captain America issue, and delve more into the post that I made the other day that got quite a lot of traction, I think, thanks to the boy, the man, Saladino. But anyway, yeah, that's my video. If you liked it, give me a like, subscribe. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Hit the notification bell for notifications. And what do you think about Beau DeMayo? Did you watch X-Men 97? What do you think about this whole situation? Let me know. Peace.